My brother smirked across the dinner table. Make sure you're not around when we leave for Paris. Would be awkward if you tried to tag along. My dad nodded in agreement. It's just not your place anymore. I raised my glass and said, understood. That night, I quietly canceled all their tickets. At check-in, they were denied boarding. And in that moment, I finally smiled. If you've ever been underestimated, excluded, or disrespected by someone close to you, hit that subscribe button, like this video, and stay with me. Because the story isn't just about revenge, it's about reclaiming power with precision. Let's dive in. It started as a normal family dinner. I remember the clinking of cutlery and the low hum of conversation. The table was warm with familiarity, yet a chill settled over me the moment my brother spoke. Make sure you're not around when we leave for Paris, he said, his voice casual, almost too casual, like he was giving a final warning rather than a request. Would be awkward if you tried to tag along. I froze mid-bite. The words were sharp, deliberate, aimed to make me feel small. My father didn't correct him. He simply nodded, adding, almost conversationally, it's just not your place anymore. I could feel the sting. Betrayal, humiliation, a subtle power play, the kind that twists in your chest and leaves a bitter taste. My mind raced. I had spent years quietly contributing to this family, handling logistics, solving disputes, managing finances, and keeping the peace. And now, in a single sentence, I was being cast aside, excluded from something that was meant to be a family experience. I raised my glass and said softly, deliberately, understood. Inside, my pulse was rapid, my hands tingling. The words weren't defeat, they were calm, controlled, masking the storm underneath. Because I knew something they didn't. Sometimes, the best revenge is silent, calculated, invisible until the moment it lands. That night, after everyone had gone to bed, I opened my laptop and logged into the airline account. My brother and father had booked their tickets weeks ago, assuming I would never interfere. They thought I was passive, predictable, the easy target in their little drama. I smiled faintly as I navigated the booking system. Cancel all. Refund unavailable. Confirmation emails sent. Done. Quiet. Clean. Perfect. Sleep eluded me. I lay awake imagining the look on their faces at the airport, imagining the confusion, the panic, the frustration. My heart raced with anticipation, not cruelty, exactly, but justice. They had underestimated me, dismissed me, made me feel invisible. Now, they would feel the chaos they thought they could avoid so easily. Morning came, and I went about my routine as usual, hiding my inner triumph behind a neutral calm. I didn't gloat, didn't brag, didn't drop hints. The beauty of this revenge was in its inevitability. I knew that by the time they reached a check-in counter, there would be no way to fix it. No escape from the consequences of their own arrogance. Hours later, my phone buzzed with a flurry of frantic texts from my brother. At first, confusion, then panic, then anger. Check-in problem, he wrote. Flight cancelled? What's happening? I didn't respond. I didn't need to. The silence itself was part of the punishment. At the airport, I imagined the moment they realized what had happened. They approached the counter, passports in hand, smug confidence on their faces, only to be met with a simple, unwavering denial. I'm sorry. Your reservation has been cancelled. You are not allowed to board. I pictured my brother's eyes widening in disbelief, my father's jaw tightening as they tried to reason, to argue, to beg. But there was no recourse, no appeals, no overrides, no last-minute fixes. Just a cold, administrative truth, and the reality that I had taken control of a situation. They assumed they dominated. It wasn't just about the tickets. It was about respect, about power, about reclaiming the dignity they thought they could strip from me. Every insult, every condescending remark, every time I had been sidelined, led to this moment of poetic justice. The funny part? My revenge required no confrontation, no shouting, no humiliation in public. The satisfaction came from the inevitability, from the precision, from knowing that I had orchestrated the outcome from behind the scenes. It was quiet, clinical, and devastatingly effective. Later that evening, I allowed myself a private celebration. I poured a glass of wine, sat by the window, and reflected on what had just transpired. The air outside was cool, the city lights twinkling. I felt a wave of liberation, a sense of control I hadn't realized I craved. I thought about the psychology of it, the way people assume their power is absolute, the way arrogance blinds them, the way they misjudge those they think are weaker. They had counted on my passivity, on my compliance. They had assumed that my quiet, composed exterior was weakness. How wrong they were. Over the next few days, the fallout continued. My brother tried calling, his voice shaking with disbelief. My father attempted to negotiate, to plead, to threaten. Every attempt failed because the decision had already been made. I didn't argue, didn't explain, didn't justify. Silence was my ally, and it spoke louder than words ever could. I realized then a profound truth. Revenge isn't about malice. It isn't about cruelty. It's about reclaiming your power, asserting your boundaries, and teaching people that underestimation has consequences. True revenge is elegant, deliberate, and invisible until it lands perfectly. And as I watched them scramble, I felt no guilt, only clarity, only peace, only triumph. Because the lesson they learned was not through anger, not through confrontation, but through a quiet demonstration of competence, foresight, and control. It was beautiful. The weeks that followed were strangely peaceful. No more subtle dismissals, no more condescending remarks. My brother avoided my calls. My father maintained an uneasy silence. My position in the family had shifted not by argument, not by power struggle, but by strategy. I had proven my worth without even lifting my voice. And I realized something else. This wasn't just about them. It was about me, about learning that I could assert myself, defend my dignity, and take control of my life even when those closest to me tried to diminish it. That night, when I quietly pressed cancel, I wasn't just canceling tickets, I was canceling the narrative they had written for me, a narrative of submission, exclusion, and disrespect. Looking back, I wouldn't change a thing. The calm satisfaction, the quiet triumph, the clarity of action, it was perfect. Revenge had never felt so precise, so justified, so satisfying. And the best part? I didn't need to fight in person. I didn't need to shout, storm, or argue. I let logic, planning, and timing do the work. My revenge was methodical, undeniable, and irreversible. And in that, I found a sense of power I had never felt before. Because here's the universal truth. People may underestimate you, dismiss you, or try to exclude you, but they can't control your mind, your actions, or your strategic decisions. Power isn't loud. Power isn't angry. Power is precise, patient, and unwavering. That night, alone with my thoughts and a glass of wine, I felt a sense of peace. Not the hollow peace of avoidance, but the deep, satisfying peace of justice served in the most elegant way possible. They had tried to humiliate me. They had tried to erase me from their plans. But I had turned the table, and in that moment, I realized that sometimes the most satisfying victories are those you orchestrate quietly, from the shadows, leaving the perpetrators bewildered, powerless, and humbled. In life, you can't always control what others do or how they treat you, but you can control your actions, your responses, and your strategies. Revenge, when earned and precise, isn't just satisfaction, it's liberation. If you've ever been dismissed, excluded, or underestimated, remember, your power lies in your choices, your strategy, and your patience. Like this video, share it with someone who needs this reminder, and subscribe for more stories where justice isn't just served, it's exquisitely executed.